Happy New Year, ladies and gentlemen, and from the same location, yet again, this is the Trying to Be Grown podcast. I'm your host, Imani Carter. Over there is my esteemed co-host, Mr. Byron Keaton, and you have a question to start off the new year.
So if aliens were to come down today, and to save the human race, you got to play in one song. What song would that be? And why?
Flashing Lights by Kanye West. I'm so happy I got the opportunity to circle around back to this. If I had to play them one song,
You're not serious.
I'm dead serious.
I guess we just
Dead serious. No. Just give me another song that has a cosmic feel like Flashing Lights. If we're trying to connect with somebody with a different like group of life forms that is also like sharing a universe with us, what kind of song do you want to put forward? I want to put forward a song that just has a real cosmic, space travel-y feel to it. And that song is Flashing Lights.
First of all, you don't even know what space travel, like what they like in space.
You don't either.
It ain't flashing lights.
We have a no. This is what we have.
It is not flashing.
Flashing Lights is not only a great piece of music, it has great lyrics and it has a cosmic feel. Boom, boom, boom. I'm showing it to the aliens. That's my first choice.
So first thing I'm gonna say is, aliens should not play any type of role in this whatsoever. They don't know our language. They do not know our language. So anything that's like lyrics based,
sound. There you go. Sound is over with.
Nope. I think you gotta do something where you can rock your head to.
You can't rock your head to Flashing Lights?
Not really. Flashing lights. No, I don't want to hear that, man. Them aliens don't want to hear it.
You're not. You said the words and didn't want to do the beat. Do
the beat.
I'm not replicating the beat. I'm not just gonna Biz Marquee myself on this podcast.
No,
but if you're talking about a song that you can bob your head to, then it's Flashing Lights. A song with a cosmic feel, Flashing Lights. And if by some miracle they got like a super translator that just allows them to know what is being said, then you have the lyrics. Flashing Lights.
What's the lyrics in there? Let's gonna blow them away if they understood the lyrics.
She don't believe in shooting stars, but she believe in shoes and cars. Wood floors in a new apartment. Couture from the store's department. You more like love to start. I'm more of the trips to Florida, order the hors d'oeuvres, views of the water straight from. Come on, man.
Now somebody from.
Come on, man. Even if you don't understand what he's saying, you can hear just from the cadence and everything else that he's flowing on that.
Nope, can't be. That song should not be it. We all dying. If the human race depends on you in that song, book it. We dead.
Okay. What is your answer to the question? So you don't have an answer to the question? Since I believe, if it's a Drake song, I'm gonna just go ahead and tell you right now. I think that you're okay. Go ahead.
I don't think it's gonna be a Drake. I think we have to, as I said, the beat has to be super important. I think that's the most important thing that the aliens, because with the beat, you feel it. Like you can feel the vibrations.
Hey, Byron, there is not a single song that I have ever listened to in my entire life that I have felt more than Flashing Lights, just based off the beat alone. Now there's songs there's songs that you lyrically feel.
That ain't true to mine.
But in terms of just the sounds that are coming out of the speaker, you feel Flashing Lights. It's an out of body experience. You feel that song.
I disagree, bro.
Okay. And you still haven't put forward an answer.
I might want to go with the Chief Keef song. Chief Keef changed the world, man. He revolutionized rap. So it's out of two songs. If I'm going Chief Keef, I told you gotta be something you can feel the bass, where the bass just grabs you. Bass grabs you. I had another song I was thinking on the way up, but can't think of it right now. But I'm going with. This is tough. This is a real tough question.
Chief Keef, Byron.
I think Finito could save the planet, save the world. I think Finito could truly save the human race.
If they don't kill us all, we're gonna be slaves on another planet. We as a collective, just gonna be enslaved because of you.
You know the lyrics? You know the lyrics of that?
Yes.
Okay then. You don't think the aliens gonna be bobbing their head to it. Because put like this, if the aliens don't bob their head, it's a wrap for us. I said what I said.
So instead of a song with kind of a universal,
that's not what
positive feel to it, you're gonna just give this really crude, very very abrasive song to the aliens and say this is who we are.
Mm-hmm. Basically, yeah. They're like, okay, I feel this, because I don't think they know the lyrics. They just gonna be going off what it sound like, more or less. And if you hear Finito, you gotta bob your head to it.
No, this is what I think in terms of why we as a people love Finito so much. It
broke barriers.
It didn't break any barriers, Byron. It's just a very, very upbeat song with a harder feel to it that everybody can sing along to, and that it's cool. Like it's a very cool song. If I had to play one song to save the human race, it wouldn't. I don't think Finito would crack the top 200. That's just a bad decision.
I can tell you one person.
That's just a bad decision.
That's
a good way to get us all killed. Just because that's like you have to be an Earthling to understand why we like Finito.
I disagree.
You have to be you have to be an American 20 to 35-year-old person.
People in China listen to Finito.
I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
What about Hotline Bling?
We all gonna die twice. We all gonna die twice. They will resurrect us and give you another shot. And if you play Hotline Bling, they will kill us worse.
Not in my top 25.
They will kill us worse.
It's probably not in my top 100 song.
This was a horrible way to start off. I
believe Finito can save us, man.
No.
Okay,
no.
I got a question. So what's your number 2 song? Because I think you just chose Flashing Lights based on what happened the other week where everybody was saying Flashing Lights was trash, more or less.
No, that's not what then people weren't saying that.
Every person.
The majority of people.
Every person I've asked about Flashing Lights, they said it's not a good song.
How many people have you asked?
No.
Oh, you've told me about one, so that's.
I've asked about 5 other people.
No, that's one in addition to me. But if we're just going like off the global perspective, everybody says Flashing Lights is a very, very
Name
good
another
song.
person.
Name another singular person. I'm talking about like the Twitterverse. I've seen
tell me one person.
the same thoughts that I have regarding like that out of body experience that Flashing Lights gives you. They have been expressed in tweets that have gotten like 60,000 likes. So
who tweeted it?
I don't care who tweeted it.
I think you just made this up. Because you can't prove it right now. You're like, I saw it on Twitter. That's what everybody do nowadays.
But Byron, here's the thing. If we had to prove everything that we just saw on Twitter or something in that realm, you wouldn't be allowed to talk.
Why?
Because you're the one that will fabricate information like that. I don't fabricate information. Yes, you do. I tell the truth. Yes, you do.
I tell the truth every day.
And 2, you are the one that is, I'd say, constantly making reference to stuff like that you cannot point like to concrete evidence of.
I've never done that before.
Okay.
I've never done that before in my life.
That's just not true. That's definitely not true.
But also one person I would for sure not play their music. Bruno Mars. I feel Bruno Mars would immediately get us killed for some reason. And I don't know why.
That don't make much sense. I feel like Bruno Mars would be good.
I feel like they'll hear Bruno Mars and be like, are you serious right now?
You don't like Bruno Mars?
I think he's straight. But I just feel Bruno Mars would get us killed out of all people.
This is a weird conversation, so I'm going to just go ahead and move past it and act like this never happened, if that's all right with you.
I don't know, bro.
Wherever you rocking with us, we appreciate you rocking with us. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Google Podcasts, wherever you at, we appreciate it. Leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment if you feel so inclined. Today, we're going to start this conversation off with our New Year's resolutions. And then we're going to get into some of this college football playoff stuff, seeing as the games just concluded.
Semis.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of, I know, but that was kind of implied.
I just wanted to make sure, man.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
I may have not known, man.
And we're going to end this episode with a little bit of mental health talk, specifically on the male end. We've addressed this before, but just revisiting, just because it's a very important topic. And everything will be time-stamped in the description. You see something you like, something you don't. Just know you will have the time information to get there or get past it. So, starting off, Byron, your New Year's resolutions for 2022. Or resolution, whatever. Because I only have one.
First, let me talk about my previous.
We can do that as well.
Before I need to ease into my 2022. Okay. You got to reflect before you can create new goals.
Agreed.
So, my main goal is just to be more intentional and whatnot. I believe I did that most of the year. Wasn't perfect at it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just get into your habits and just kind of go through the motions and whatnot. Especially, I would say, last 2.5 months of the year, I made a huge adjustment in my life, and then I kind of switched into just, okay, this is what I need to do, this is how I do, and I just kind of just went. I was going through the motions, but still getting things done, if that makes sense. But it's just like I need to be more intentional with just the little things on the side, more or less. So I'll give myself B plus about how I deal with my New Year's resolution. And then this year's resolution, I don't know, I've been thinking on this for like the past month or so. Cause
hold on, pause right there. Ain't no way you've been thinking about your New Year's resolution for a month.
I have. What you mean? People just come?
That's just strange, man. I wouldn't say that people just come up with them, but maybe a week. No, and I think a week is stretching it.
I've been thinking about this for about 6 weeks, honestly.
Okay, yeah, that's weird. That's strange. But go ahead.
Because I'm looking forward to the future.
That's just strange. But go ahead.
But I've been struggling. Like, what do I want to improve on this year?
Uh-huh.
And so I more or less moved into the lane of trying to say, how do I want to say this? Because it's a form of being intentional again. But it's being intentional regarding how I spend my money, more or less. Just like money habits. So I can elaborate on this a lot later, but more or less I just want to, because one thing, I already knew where a lot of my money was going just because I budgeted, I guess, 4 years ago. And I was like seeing where my money was going and whatnot and how not to spend it. And so I like carried it over those habits. So like, if I'm eating out too much, I know that. Or if I'm spending money on just miscellaneous stuff, I realize that. So I just want to be just not like on a super strict budget, but just more budget conscious, I guess. So that's my New Year's resolution, just to be more budget conscious.
That's a good one. So when you say you budgeted 4 years ago, you mean that's the last time that you made a budget for yourself was 4 years ago?
Correct.
So you're going to budget this year then, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. But like I know how to live within my means. And I told you I can elaborate on all this at a later point, but I want to be. Okay, so the reason why I want to be more budget conscious, because at the end of the day, I have goals like wanting to buy a house soon and things like that. So I want to be more budget conscious and whatnot.
Okay. So is there a difference between, well, I think there is, but can you explain to us the difference between being budget conscious and being cheap?
Ooh, that is a good question. Okay, in what context are you talking about? This like overall?
So we were going to take a trip to Dallas for New Year's, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't end up going. But in the planning stage, I am cheap.
Correct.
So when we were talking about buying hotels, I said, let's go to the Motel 6.
I would consider that cheap.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm talking about. So where's the distinction between being budget conscious and being cheap? Is it mindset? Are we looking at different monetary or financial goals when we're talking about being budget conscious or being cheap? What do we use to separate those?
Okay, so budget conscious, I would say it's about living within your means, more or less. To where you're not stretching yourself thin ever. You keep a good portion of your nest egg compared to being cheap. It don't matter how much money you make, but you make how much money or how little money. And at the end of the day, you're going to find the cheapest way to achieve that goal. That's what I put cheap in it, but still. Like if it gets the job done, you there for it. No matter how,
I think cheap's better. I like cheap better than budget conscious.
But you gotta be. But when you go the cheap route, sometimes it's not the safest way. It's not the most convenient way. It's sometimes not even the cleanest way.
I don't care.
See that you can't be doing that, man.
Oh no, I'm fine with that. I spend my money where I do spend my money, but like being cheap, it just feels better. Just the feeling that
you didn't spend money.
Yeah, it just feels better. I like that better. But that is a good New Year's resolution. I'm somewhat impressed because I don't think that you think much.
I told you, I think about a lot of stuff all the time.
Yeah, but I mean, you think about some strange things. But 6 weeks for a New Year's resolution, I guess, allows you to come up with a good one.
So what's yours?
Props to you.
Well, I guess we have to. How did you do on your New Year's resolution?
I think I did pretty well. I think I have adjusted my mindset somewhat. Hey, bro, you 25 years old and you trying to drink out of juice box on the podcast while I'm talking?
I can't drink my orange juice. So we can't drink orange juice now.
Out of a box, not out of a box.
So I'm supposed to drink orange juice out of?
A cup, a bottle, something that indicates indicates that you are over 7 years old.
So if I pour this out into a cup, you fine with it?
I would be more fine with it. I'm thrown off by the fact that you have a juice box. You 3 months away from being 25 and you're drinking out of juice boxes.
What's wrong with that? I told you I'm being budget conscious this year.
So much is wrong with that. Anyways, I think in terms of being more, I said that I wanted to be task oriented instead of being goal oriented. Went into a long spiel about how the goal is there, but being present and having a mindset that allows you to focus wholly on what you're doing rather than what you did or what you're going to do. I feel like I did a pretty good job in terms of adjusting my mind frame to do that. I did it in my workouts, tried to be better, applying it outside the sports field, but I feel like it applied most in sports. But I feel like I did pretty well. It's hard to point to concrete examples because
you gotta give a letter grade.
A B. High B, like an 88.
I don't know if I believe in that, man.
That's based on haterism, purely on haterism. So that's fine. That's fine.
I'm not a hater on anybody on this plane other than CP3.
You just hate on a lot of people.
Who else do I hate on?
A lot.
Who else do I hate
on? Jay-Z, for one.
I don't hate on Jay-Z.
Yes, you do.
I just don't enjoy his music personally.
No, you hate on Jay-Z.
I don't hate. What do I say?
Hate on Jay-Z. Russell Westbrook.
I don't hate I don't hate him. I hate his style of play. I don't hate him as a person.
No. It doesn't matter if you hate him as a person. So you hate CP3 as a person?
Yes.
You've never met him.
That's the dirtiest basketball player I've ever seen in my life. And so if you're a dirty basketball player, you just don't care about people. That's disrespectful. You're playing outside the realm of the game.
He's the representative. He's the player rep for the players organization.
What that mean?
So the entirety of the league respected him enough to say that he is going to represent us, the players.
Isn't Putin the president of Russia or whatever? He or whatever the head title. How he get that? Because they respect him. They don't mean nothing, man.
So did you just compare?
CP3 is Putin. He is the Putin of the NBA.
And he really thinks that these are coherent thoughts.
Think about this.
I wish
he was
that
on the banana
people.
boat with Bruno, wasn't he? But he out here trying to break his arm in a basketball game on 2 different occasions. That's dirty, man. He don't care about his friends. And you got to draw the line somewhere. He probably beat his kids at home.
First, that's a wild accusation. That's just.
I don't know. I'm just saying, if he doing that to one of his best friends, a guy that showed up at his first finals game, and he out here trying to break his arm in a basketball game, I just don't see no boundaries.
You don't know him though. That's kind of my point.
And but I'm saying I know enough from what I've seen. You can't judge a book by its cover, but I've seen more than I've read the first 3 chapters.
Can we get back to this resolution thing?
Go ahead, man.
So that was last year. Did pretty well on that. But for this year, I am going to try to be less of a procrastinator.
I don't see that happening for you.
Why not?
The one I've seen, at this point, it's a part of you.
I don't think it's integral to who I am. It's just easy. It's easy to procrastinate. So I think
I'm pretty sure when we were living together, you had an assignment that was due like at the very end that they gave you at the beginning.
Yeah.
And you wait until like a week out to start on it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nah, man, it's a wrap. I don't think you're going to get at highest a C+ on this one, I believe.
So you got to. So do I have to eliminate procrastination as a whole for it to be successful?
But you have to tell me what the goal is. Well, okay.
I said be better.
How much better do you want to see in this? Just like a little bit? 1%?
No, I'm saying significantly better, but I'm just saying I'm going to try to not procrastinate as much. So if I do,
this seems like an arbitrary resolution.
So be more budget conscious is not arbitrary.
Yeah.
And you're literally just talking about the consciousness, at like
but
that.
I can put mine more at a objective standard. I can be like, hey, I want to save this much money this year. I can make mine that.
And I could say I want to have these assignments done in whatever. I could put a timestamp on that. I could say that I want to have my bills paid by the first. Like I want to have my bills paid by the first of the month every month. I could do a whole bunch of stuff to put like measurable.
When do you pay your bills at this time? On probably the last part. You do it the last day, huh?
No, one bill, yes. But most of the other ones, they
auto draft.
Yeah, I got a few that are auto draft. But I pay my rent on time.
Because they're going to kick you out if you don't.
That is a very good point, yes. That is exactly why. 100% why. But I could put measurables on that.
Okay.
And I think that a lot of the reason that I be so scatterbrained and stressed, half the time is because I put stuff off until the very last minute.
You have to pull an all-nighter.
Mm-hmm. And I really don't care much for school at this point. But, I'm just looking at, there were 2 classes where I didn't do most of the work until the last week of the semester, just because I knew my teacher accepted late work and I didn't feel like doing it.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm talking about, bro.
No, it's bad.
So this is going to be a challenging goal.
It's bad. Yes.
This is a challenging resolution.
It is going to be a challenging resolution for me, but I just feel like it will increase my efficiency as a person. There's a lot of times where I can't, do the things that, not a lot, but there are a few.
Haven't I told you this before?
I don't listen to you.
Ever. I'm like, you could just break up 30 minutes here, 30 minutes here.
Yeah, but I usually don't feel like doing that. I'm going to try to be better at it this year. And hopefully my mama don't watch this episode because she's going to be on me trying to just push it. And I know that, I'm going to be better. I'm not even going to say that because I'm going to be better.
I hope you are, man, because I've seen prime procrastinating to mine.
Yeah, I'm still in my prime right now. I'm trying to break out of it.
Were you like this in high school?
100%.
Middle school?
Yes.
Elementary school?
Didn't get much opportunity to, but I was one of the kids that was doing the homework as the teacher was picking it up. So, yeah, pretty much.
So you wouldn't do homework at home?
I would do my best to get it done during the day.
Yeah.
If it wasn't done, may or may not do it at the house. And then when she says get it out, I'm trying to copy the answers from somebody else. I've always been really good at school. I'm not a good student, not at all. Like the things that a teacher wants in a student, other than intelligence, I am none of those. None.
That sounds like that's the typical American. People across the planet, I guess, across the planet, believe Americans are lazy.
From a school perspective, yes.
Lazy and procrastinators.
I'm a very lazy. I'm not. I don't know if I would describe myself as a lazy person, because I do get stuff done, but just there are certain.
You get stuff done because you have to get those things done, though.
Not necessarily.
Like what?
Like in terms of
sports don't count because you love sports.
I know, but that's kind of what I'm talking about.
Outside of sports, would you consider yourself lazy?
No, when I had a job, I was doing stuff.
Because you had to do it as part of the job.
No, I mean I've actually invested in and learned stuff like trying to be a better employee. So I mean, it depends on how much I invest in the thing. And I think there is some merit to the how you do something is how you do everything theory. So just getting better at not procrastinating will probably make me better in other areas. So that's the plan for 2022 as of now.
So how do you plan to check yourself on this?
What do you mean?
How do
you know if it? I think procrastination is one of the things that you know if it's happening and you know if it's not.
But you don't know you're procrastinating until you realize at the very end, I'm procrastinating.
I don't think that's true. When I knew over the course of this semester that while I was not doing those assignments, I was procrastinating. I didn't just figure it out the last week. I knew all the way through the semester I was procrastinating.
So question, when you're procrastinating, do you keep saying, hey, I'm gonna do this next week, or are you the person I'm gonna wait till the very last week to start on this? Which one are you?
The second.
That's a bad procrastinator, man.
Yeah, I know.
That's the worst possible.
I'm
people
well
who
aware.
say okay, I know I need to do this, I'll do it next week. I can respect that, because then next week come around, something come up.
No, I think in terms of respect, you have to respect the person that's honest with themselves and says, I'm not going to do this until the very last minute.
Because I believe
if you lying to yourself, then that's another element that you adding on to procrastination. It's just that you can't
option one, I see them trying. I see it as trying.
They're not trying.
They're
just lying to themselves.
Option two, they just don't care.
Yeah, that's what I did.
I feel option one, they may care about 20%. Option two cares about 5%. I'm going with the 20.
Option one is 100% lying to themselves.
Not always. Sometimes they do it.
Sometimes they do. Okay, 80% lying to themselves, and I will take the honesty over the lying any day, because I know who I am. I know who I am.
Oh man, that ain't the right thing to do.
Knowing your strengths and your weaknesses is very important, and I know that this is a weakness of mine. But the strength in it is that I'm so honest with myself that I know that I do it, and I know how to get around it for the most part.
So how do you get around it?
Just work really hard at the end of it and hope for the best.
But can that result in burnout?
Oh yeah, I'll be burnt out every time. Every time. Every time.
Then you can't do nothing for another month.
That might be where the line comes in, because because I don't say I'm going to get better. I say I need to stop doing this. I don't think I necessarily tell myself I'm going to stop, but I say I need to stop. Oh. But then I don't.
Next thing come around, I'm good.
You just start the cycle all over again. But not this year. 2022 is gonna be different.
Mark my words. Money.
Not necessarily, just this one change. Everything else stays the same. But that's enough on that. We have witnessed the first 2 games of the college football playoff at this point. Earlier we saw what I said was going to happen. Alabama and Georgia took care of business, both pretty handily, I'd say. Georgia with a little bit bigger victory.
Georgia's a better team. But go ahead.
Out of Georgia and Michigan, or Georgia and Alabama?
Alabama. Go ahead.
That's a hot take. Anyways, does it hurt just knowing that I was just so much righter than you and that pretty much everything that I said just came to fruition? Does it?
I know. I say this all the time, but broke clock right twice a day.
It seems like I've
So
been
those
right.
2 games, and those your 2 times you were right.
It just seems like I've been right a lot more than 2 times.
I
Seems like I've
disagree.
made a lot of correct.
NBA Finals.
I predicted everything. No, I predicted everything right up to that point. I predicted the 2 teams that were going to be in there. I just made the wrong prediction as to who was going to win.
Them boys were down 2-1 or whatever, or 1-0 or whatever. And I said, Bucks gonna win it all. They just, and you're like, no, the Suns got it.
I didn't say that on the air.
You did.
No, I didn't.
Oh, well, you said it to me. I knew you said it.
But anyways,
Broke clock right twice a day, and that's what you are, a broken clock.
I will go on to the next thing. So, what is it about Georgia that makes you think that they are the better team, quote unquote?
They have better players overall, especially their front 7.
But it's
The problem with Georgia, you know what I think the problem is. It's one thing. Georgia has one flaw.
the guy that had a not a perfect game, but the guy that had a really, really good game against Michigan.
As I say, a broken clock is right twice a day. He's still a broken clock. I'm not even gonna say his name.
What makes you hate Stetson Bennett so much?
He's terrible.
What part of his game is so bad to you?
He's not a playmaker.
How?
He's just a little, what they call him?
A game manager?
Yeah. And a bad one at that.
I don't think so. I really don't think so.
He doesn't make any wow plays to me, really.
He impressed me against Michigan. He really
because
did.
you thought he was terrible.
No, it's not because I thought he was terrible. He made a lot of plays with his feet. He extended a lot of plays with his feet.
Okay, do you think he's going to try to run when he see them Alabama defensive linemen and linebackers out there?
Yes.
No, I don't think he's going to do it. So why didn't he do it the last time? He was out there throwing ducks, throwing picks when they just standing right. Like his last pick, they weren't even moving. The guy was literally just standing there. He threw it right to him.
Okay, and this is the part where I kind of get into the statistical conversation with you. Stetson Bennett statistically is not a bad quarterback, right?
I'll be a good quarterback over there if every team were better than him. Could put it like this: when they played Arkansas, the backup came in. He only threw like 7 passes.
Yeah,
and they still beat us by like 40.
Not quite that, but
I'm
a pretty decided victory. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? If your offensive line, your running backs and receivers are so much better than the other team every single week, anybody can have good stats in those situations.
But he's outplayed the other guy.
Who has he outplayed?
JT Daniels.
I think he's better, but that ain't saying much.
How is that not saying much though? If he put it,
they need to go get a 5-star quarterback, man.
I don't think that first and foremost, I don't think Stetson Bennett's the issue. I'll go ahead and put that out. Why?
What do you mean why? We know it's not the offensive line. We know it's not the running back.
Mm-hmm.
Elite tight end.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they receivers at least straight.
You're pretty sure the receivers are at least straight?
Yeah, because what I've seen.
How much of Georgia have you watched this year, Byron?
Got 5 games. 4 or 5 games.
Okay. And you've just been so disappointed with Stetson Bennett because what? Has he been?
He finally had a challenge where like a team who had similar players to where Georgia just weren't massively better than them, just like by players wise. Georgia still is technically, if you look at like all the numbers, the recruits on their roster are technically better than Bama's right now.
Yeah.
And
so if you look at
but it's
awards,
close.
it's very close
yeah,
too. But go ahead.
But yeah, they're close, and this is a situation where they're close. And what does he do in that situation?
He didn't have a terrible game, Byron. It wasn't great.
It was terrible.
3 touchdowns and 2 picks is a terrible game to you? 289 yards through the air, I think.
If you watch that game, you don't think he played a good game.
I'm not saying. Look, put it to you this way: if he plays okay, right, and the defense is not, they didn't get torched, but they had a lot of trouble with Bama, as I also said. I don't think I said it on air, but I also thought that was going to be kind of the deciding factor, and it ended up being true. Then how do you put the blame on him versus looking at the shortcomings of Georgia's defense?
Because
the offense put up points. I don't remember how many they had.
They put up much. And then the game, they were still in the game. Then what he come down there and do? Throw a pick six.
That was a major stain on the game for him, for sure.
I'm just saying, Georgia's defense every single week has saved the offense when the offense hasn't had good games, right or wrong. They haven't had
saves. I mean,
the defense would basically shut out the other team. So one week the defense doesn't play absolutely amazing. The offense can't help them out some.
They did help them out some. That's kind of what I'm saying.
No, bro. Stetson Bennett got to go. I'm not Georgia. I'm not even. I'm rooting for y'all. But if y'all got Stetson Bennett out there, I might have to root for Bama. And I've never done that in my life.
It just doesn't. It doesn't make sense for a lot of reasons. And I guess the one to start off with is the statistics, because he's not been real bad statistically. He's been just very, very steady over the course of the year. And if you're a team that has all that firepower around him, then that's what you need.
Just like Tua all over again, but Tua was actually decent.
I think Tua was a little bit better than decent, Byron.
Put it like this. I talked about this. I didn't talk about this on the podcast because this was way back in the day. Tua was not as good as his numbers said that he was.
And you think that because what?
In this situation, everything was perfect for him at all times. He had the best offensive line in the country. No pressure was getting to him most of the time. And the one or two, I think it was, I can't remember who they played in the championship that year. They actually put pressure on Tua. And in those situations, Tua played absolutely terrible. Was that the year? Was it Auburn? It may not. I can't remember who it was. When the team actually started putting pressure on Tua, he played horrendous. That was the year they put Jalen Hurts in.
He got hurt that year. You do realize that, right?
They got pressure on. Oh. So the game he got hurt, they were putting pressure on him. He was playing terrible. Whatever year that was, when he actually got pressure on him, he played terrible. And I was like,
that was for a half, Byron.
Actually, no, it was like 4 games. It was 4 games. I pulled up the stats of those games. I think it was against LSU that year, Auburn, and one other team. It was like the top 4 teams that he played against who had winning records. Alabama still won those games, but Tua did not play well in those situations. And the reason is the pocket wasn't perfect, but at the end of the day, he also had 4 first-round pick receivers. I could have been the quarterback out there, and that's my problem in these situations. We got to stop giving all this credit to the quarterbacks when everything else around them is perfect.
You realize he's playing well in the league right now.
What did he do at the beginning? What did he do at his first 18 games?
His first 18 games?
Yeah. What did he do his first 18 games in the league?
If you judge Peyton Manning off his first 18 games in the league, he would have been horrendous.
I'm just saying, Tua ain't.
I'm pretty sure he still has. I'm pretty sure he still has the record for most interceptions thrown in a season. At least by a rookie. No.
First of all, Tua in year 3 right now. Didn't he get the Heisman?
But this is kind of my
mediocre.
What I'm saying,
he's an average quarterback.
What I'm saying is he's playing well.
He only played in the league like 7 games this year.
He's playing well in the league on a team that doesn't have a lot of firepower.
They got an old boy.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of my point. That's kind of my point. He has a good receiving core, and good. I'm in the division. I guess I give him the nod over the Patriots, but the Patriots use their tight end, so I mean you got to include them in the conversation.
Aren't they in the same conference as what's his name?
Yeah, probably the 3rd best receiving core in the conference. Not in the conference, in their division.
I'm here to double down on it.
Because the Bills are better, and the
Tua
Jets.
is the average quarterback.
2nd best, but they're in the same division as the Jets. I don't think Tua is an average quarterback. I think Stetson Bennett is a lot better than you give him credit for.
You put Tua Tagovailoa on Arkansas when we were playing. Man might not even get drafted. You put Stetson Bennett on Arkansas. We went 9-4 this year. 4-8.
So just his presence alone.
If he's a starting quarterback, we going 4-8.
I just don't think that's true. And
no
disrespect to KJ because KJ he was phenomenal this year. I think he outplayed Stetson Bennett for sure. But I don't think that Stetson Bennett's presence alone negates the 5 wins that you're trying to allow to negate.
Because most of our games were close, weren't they? For the most part.
Most of the.
And then
let's
Texas
see, we got
close, somewhat,
2 single-digit losses, 3 single-digit losses, and then Georgia, which was a little bit different.
Yeah, you replaced them too. Georgia would be 17-point favorites going against Alabama. You replaced Stetson Bennett with KJ Jefferson. That's how bad I think Stetson Bennett is.
And you still, okay. Well, let's get this all out of the way now. You think that Stetson Bennett is bad throwing the ball,
correct?
At all levels.
Yeah.
Why?
He don't have. First of all, he can't. He may have a decent arm, but
he threw the big ball down the sideline to the running back.
Anybody can do that.
Okay. All right, man.
He's still a college quarterback. But it's just like when he feels any type of pressure, he just folds. Mr. Go 30 would hate him on his team.
I just don't. I don't see where the criticism is coming from. Like I said, he's good on his feet. He has what?
Hey, Demond, don't ever say Stetson Bennett is good on his feet again.
Are you serious?
Are
you dead serious?
I'm dead serious.
So
what do you mean by good on his feet?
Speed, quickness is what I mean.
So what was Johnny Manziel? If Stetson Bennett is good on his feet, what is Johnny Manziel?
For college football, exceptional. There's a big difference between good and exceptional. You do realize that, right?
Okay, so if you're saying he's good, who would you compare him to? Compare him to another player that's also good on their feet.
From a speed perspective,
like I'm trying to figure out where you rank this good at, because I don't rank him as good.
Why? Do you not think that he's fast?
I think most linebackers are going to catch him in the SEC.
No.
From what I've seen,
no.
Bama was catching him like it wasn't nothing.
I mean, not really. No, but looking at the Michigan game and how many times he was able to evade pressure, get out of the pocket, and either throw the ball away or extend the play and make something happen downfield. That's a skill that some quarterbacks do not have. And why could he do that? Because he is quick and he is fast. No, because he is quick and he is fast. He's 5'10", probably, and 190 pounds.
And I still don't know how he got a Georgia offer at that size. That's another thing.
The 5-star guy that Georgia has is backing him up. So what does that tell you? What does that tell you?
5-star need to be playing, and Kirby Smart out here playing politics.
What kind of politics makes Stetson Bennett start over a 5-star?
I don't know. That's
politics is what makes you start the 5-star.
Nope. Stetson Bennett got something on him. And I don't know what it is, and I know all of us Georgia fans see it out there.
I don't think that's true. But he goes into the semis and just balls. And you have nothing to say about that?
I told you.
A defense that let's put it this way.
Michigan has a great defense.
A defense that put a lot of pressure on C.J. Stroud, made Ohio State's day very, very tough, and ended up beating them.
Yeah.
And you got no credit for Stetson Bennett walking into that situation and making, I'd say a not once in a lifetime performance, but a very good performance out of those circumstances. You got nothing to say for that.
He is still a college quarterback, and a broken clock is still right twice a day.
Okay, no.
It must have been 12:03 again.
No more Stetson Bennett talk. What is your prediction for the score? National championship game.
It's got to be a shootout, more or less. Actually, 35-28. No, 35-31. If Stetson Bennett plays the whole game. Okay, 35-31 if JT comes in at some point. Georgia wins. 35-14 if Stetson Bennett plays the whole game. 17. We'll go 17. Georgia can get a field goal.
Okay. Well, this is what I think. I think, and I'm going out on a limb here saying this because I really think that this is a tough game to predict because it could go either way. I think Georgia gets back on track. 35-24, Georgia. I think the loss of Mechie for Alabama allows for Georgia's secondary to be very, very aggressive.
They don't have another 5-star just sitting behind.
I understand that they do, but
he's the same build doing the same thing, more or less.
And more or less is kind of the part that I'm talking about. Because I know that they had some guys that played well, stepped up in other ways. But I don't think that without those two really, really significant contributors at the wide receiver spot, that Bama is going to have enough firepower to outlast what Georgia can do.
Yeah.
I think Bama's still built to beat them because they still have arguably the best quarterback in football. They still have a great passing game, and that kind of helps to negate the presence of probably the best front seven in football. But I think without Mechie in the game, Bama's receivers are going to have everybody's just going to have to elevate a lot. And I don't know if they're capable of doing that to the same degree that I think Georgia is capable of bouncing back. So I say 35-24 Georgia.
Okay. What is Stetson Bennett MVP?
Nakobe Dean MVP.
So if they want to win, he got to carry him home, more or less?
The defense is going to have to carry the day.
Okay. I told you my prediction is based on one player.
You got to stop with this. That's another. I forgot that you also hate him. I
don't hate him as a person. As a player, as a football player.
You're hating on him right now.
How's it hating?
Because you don't have anything other than just your personal misgivings to say that.
Because I thought George was the best thing since sliced bread until I saw him out there playing. I watched. I was like, oh, this should be a great game. Georgia's still gonna carry it on. They're just a better team. And he couldn't hold up his side. Everybody else did their job but him. Is what I felt like.
Yeah, I feel like you way too hard on him. But anyways, we'll go ahead and leave that where it is. So, getting into this next conversation, which is a very important one for us as men, especially, mental health. So, going into this year, we know that this is a time when a lot of people take stock of themselves and talking about like different types of improvements that they want to make, like New Year's resolutions. Saw a tweet that said, gym memberships in January about to about to jump just because that's what happens. People want
Mm-hmm.
to improve their bodies, but
Going
I
after
think
2 weeks.
yeah, probably
I hate the first 2 weeks of the year going to the gym.
yeah. 'Cause there's gonna be a bunch of people in there trying to get right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
But as we get right in those ways, I also think it's kind of important to look at, getting right from a mental health perspective. So, I guess the best way to ask this question: do you have strategies, actions that you take, or really any form of a method for maintaining your mental health in any way, shape, or form?
I've reflected on this some. I've talked about this a little bit before. One thing that I do, I like to go on drives. I just like just to hear myself in my own thoughts, hear my music, do whatever, and I just kind of like distance myself from things, more or less. Another thing that I do to protect my mental health, I set a lot of boundaries that people don't realize that I set.
You do set a lot of boundaries,
and
that's for sure.
Yeah, and so that's one way that I protect my mental health at like all times. By if I don't want to talk to people, I don't talk to people. If I don't want to do something, I set my boundary more. I may do it in a creative way to where you don't realize I'm setting a boundary, but I'll set my boundary somewhere. And that's a way that I stay sane and I'm not stretching myself too thin and things like that.
Sensible.
Yeah.
It's a sensible way to do it. I think mine have kind of, because I live alone, so alone time is pretty easy to come by as of now, and I really don't think I have like a set strategy for the maintenance of my mental health, but I do know that I'm better off when I'm active. So whether that be, participating in any kind of physical activity that I can come by, like I feel like that always provides a significant help to my mood, the way I feel physically. I always feel, obviously I need my days off and stuff, but I always just feel rejuvenated by exercise. So
That has something to do with like the endorphins.
Mm-hmm. And moving into a space where football is probably not going to be like the playing of football is probably not going to be part of my life going forward. That's something that's going to be more difficult to come by, and I've thought about that. But I don't know. It just makes me feel better. It's just that endorphin release that you get from lifting weights, playing basketball, whatever. It really helps me. It really helps me for whatever reason.
So what about them days you don't want to work out though?
I always feel worse. Sometimes I feel like I am such a slave to it because I know if I don't work out, then I'm not going to feel as good as if I did work out.
No, I disagree. When them days where you just don't feel like working out, don't go work out, y'all. One day I literally sent myself home. I was in the gym for about 20 minutes and I sent myself home because I said, you are not getting better here today. Go home and reflect.
That's because you soft.
No, I just like my mind wasn't in. I was doing weight. I was going through the motions though.
No.
See, but
no. Just if you're hurt or there's a real reason that you need to be resting, that's something different.
No.
But if you can't get your own mind right, you need to check yourself.
Demond, you say that you're about to move into a new phase to where you're not working out and things like that for competition, more or less. To where you're just working out to work out. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Come back to me in 2 to 3 years and see if that situation ever that hits you like, my mind not here. Why am I doing this? And in those days, I feel you need to send yourself home, just like a coach would in that situation. Because you're not training to be better at football, to be able to move somebody.
You're trying to improve your body.
Nope.
What are you talking about?
Also,
see, I shouldn't even ended into this conversation with you. No.
Also, I realize I now train for survival, more or less. to where if I'm put in a life or death situation, will I be able to do some type of movement to survive? For example, I make sure I do pull-ups, so if I'm hanging from a cliff, I can pull myself up.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, Byron. That's just so dumb for so many reasons. Why would you train for that?
It was just like, I need to be in enough shape to survive. Or if I'm getting chased by something, I need to be able to run at least a mile. I need to be able to, if something lands on top of me, I need to be able to push it off. That's my driving force when I go to the gym.
That's stupid.
Will this allow me to survive?
That's stupid. That's stupid for so many reasons. Because
what else I'm training for?
To improve your body.
For what?
What do you mean for what?
I need a why, and my why is survival.
Okay, well, one, let's just say that you find an object too heavy to move, an animal or thing that is too. No, you find an animal or thing that is too fast for you to train your way to run away from. Or just in general, you get into a life or death situation where your training is not going to help enough. Then what? Then you just wasted it. Now a cheetah is having you for dinner.
At least I try my best to where I would survive in most situations. Yeah, you can't do nothing. Can't do nothing against a cheetah.
That's so stupid. You can't do anything against cheetah, tiger. An elephant would outrun you.
No, man, I'm quicker than the elephant.
No, you
laterally.
Never mind. All right, off topic. That was a weird tangent. But going into this next thing, as men, how do we check in on other men regarding their mental health? How do we check on our friends?
That's a good question because I have no idea how to do it. But I know that about myself. I'm one of the people who...
That's great. You've contributed a lot to this segment with your self-awareness. Go ahead.
Give me a sec.
Go ahead.
I'm not the type of person who pushes, more or less. Mm-hmm. And so if I don't know an answer to a question about someone, or I don't know what they're doing, whether how they'll feel in the situation, like, hey, kind of think of something. Are you okay? I'll send a message like, are you okay? If I have a close enough connection with them. But if I'm just like a tangential friend, like we cool and whatnot, we talk when we see each other, but if I'm not talking to you, like I don't feel comfortable in that situation being the person to be like, hey, are you good? Because I feel like I'm almost butting into a situation. I may make the situation worse.
I can understand that. So I had a situation and still kind of currently have one with a friend who I believe is going through some sort of mental health struggle. And I reached out to shout out to BC. Go watch our episode if you haven't. Go watch the Heartfelt Pod.
Heartfelt Club. Come on, man.
No, it's the Heartfelt. I'm telling you, it's the Heartfelt Podcast.
Okay, yeah, I got you. I thought you might have heard like brand.
I said go watch.
You right. I wasn't paying attention. I pick and choose.
Anyways, I reached out to her just because I was looking for some strategies as to, just present that conversation to said person. And she presented me with a lot of good options. Didn't end up working out in that situation, and it's still ongoing. But I liked a lot of the suggestions. So some of the things that we talked about included just finding activities or situations that are, low pressure, where you can, provide a safe space for the other person. So whether that be, y'all talking about some other stuff that's familiar to you, sports. I'm really limited as a person because I can't think of nothing other than sport. But just, having conversations that are normal to you and that person, and creating that kind of environment where they feel that they can share and just be open before you get to that point. Talked about, going out to eat with them. I'm trying to think what she said specifically. She said activities, which may include sports. Again, just going out and,
make things feel normal.
Yeah, just, going in and running some 5-on-5 before you have that conversation. But I think for us, it's especially important, and it's doubly as important. Maybe not doubly, but I think it's even more important as black men. We just have this. The stigma exists that mental health struggles shouldn't be there for us. So when you know that you shouldn't be having whatever struggles that you have, it creates a greater influence to go through those silently and by yourself, which we know is not the best way to do things. So I think that makes it all the more important for us to create safe spaces, for us to check in with each other more often. And I'm definitely going to try to be better at that in 2022. And just picking up off of some of the stuff that we talked about in the last episode where we covered this, I'm going to try to just be more proactive about it in 2022.
That's my thing. I just feel in some situations to where I'm not close enough to a person that I am not providing a safe space, more or less. Because, like, okay, yeah, we're friends, but if they don't feel comfortable talking to me with already just typical deep conversations, why would they feel comfortable talking to me with something more close-knit like that? You see?
Right, and I think that there has to be some closeness for it to be a safe space. If you're not, a mental health professional, or you just haven't been in a situation that maybe I'm thinking of like AA meetings or stuff like that. There are certain situations where it could be, presented in a way that would make you want to share with somebody you don't know very well. But I'm thinking of just our friends mainly when I talk about stuff like this. And I think another important thing to say about it is it's not that you get points for the attempt, but it is important to try. And like I said, with the current situation with one of my friends, was not able to really make any headway, but I'm still, I'm praying for him and doing other stuff, hoping that, maybe there could be a breakthrough for me or somebody else down the road. And it's important to plant those seeds rather than just maybe thinking this isn't going to work, so why would I even bother? Like taking the time to do that, I think is very important, because you never know what is or what isn't going to work. So I think we as men have to try, and we definitely have to be better.
I know I saw this one thing on either Twitter or TikTok. It basically said that the only reason why men care so much about sports, like the NBA, MLB, NFL, and all that, is because men are they're afraid to talk to other men about things that are not sports related. And so they don't want to talk about anything about themselves. And so if they can talk about sports, they can still keep up with everybody without actually talking about feelings or anything like that. I was like, that's a very smart take. I don't know if I agree with it, but I was like, hey,
I could see
like
some
fantasy
merit to
sports. That's the reason why, like fantasy football. Think about how much in a group chat you talk with those people about all the things outside of your actual life, but you still talk to them like having a good time.
True. I don't know if that's like the only thing we talk about as men.
What else?
We talk about other stuff.
Like what?
Women. What? I mean, there's other stuff we talk about.
What else?
Is that really it? Is that all we talk about? That can't be it.
Funny tweets.
Yeah.
Those typically still have a sports.
No, I mean, we talk about like culture. We talk about music, that type of stuff. So yeah, we're not that limited.
So three things.
It doesn't help our case that I couldn't think of anything but sports and women.
Things.
But nah, man, there's other stuff we talk.
It's nothing.
Nah, I'm not finna. I'm not putting us in a box like that. There's no way.
We'll throw some religious stuff, man.
Yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff we talk about. I think those are probably the top two, though. Those probably. But hey.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
Well, that's going to just about do it for us here at the Hilton Garden studio today. Glad you got to come in town and we'll just say enjoy New Year's Eve, even though it was raining and
cold.
Yeah, it was cold and wasn't a lot of people. But glad we got to reconvene for this. Glad y'all came to rock with us today. Byron, anything else for the people?
We got y'all requesting questions. We're going to fit them in. Do our best to continue to send those. We can move things around, do whatever y'all like to see. But we appreciate y'all. Show Thief going to play us out. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Peace.
I stood tall. When you make it through the struggle, you the truth. When that pressure get applied, is you gon' pass or you gon' shoot. I stood tall. When you make it through the struggle and the pain, do you get your umbrella off the chance that it might rain? I stood tall. Ooh, I stood tall. Ooh, I stood tall. Ooh, you could try to count me out, but you ain't gon' ever hold me down. When I see my people going through it, I put the blame on me. And I see my homie lose his mind, but I gave him his first taste of lean. I ain't gon' lie, that really hurt me, but I had to close the curtains. And one thing I learned on Lion King is everybody gotta eat. Never tell a party, let me get a whole piece. And nah, little homie, can't get that from me. You play football, you got a bright future, you supposed to see you on the TV. And I said that's true, and I'm gon' do it, but I really gotta make something happen. And I probably could've asked my family for something, but instead I started hitting licks with daddy. I ain't gon' lie, that turned me to a savage. Really living life like a bandit. And then Murph told me, keep your head on, man, don't do nothing reckless. But now I'm older now, I'm a grown man. Go to church every Sunday, I'm a praying man. You ain't gonna never see me fall, I'm always standing. One thing I do is stick to the plan. When you make it through the struggle,